How does one move in Valorant? A question that's been asked since the game's release many years ago, yet one left predominantly unanswered. Well, not to my standard at least. When should you crouch, or when should you strafe? How long should your strafes be, and what direction should they be going in? How fast should I be shooting my 2-bullet bursts, and what do I do when someone peeks me from an angle that I've already cleared? The answers to all these questions and many more will be answered in today's video. My name is Zasko3, a mechanical coach, making the art of clicking heads accessible to more than just the elite players at the top of the game. Today, the plan is simple. I want you to walk away from this video not only knowing everything there is to know about movement, but to also have a clear set of action steps to help you develop any weaknesses you may have. That way you are guaranteed to see improvement if you watch through the entire video. Now, due to the insane amounts of variables in Valorant, I'm not going to be giving you a one-size-fits-all approach to your movement. Instead, I'm actually going to break down how you should move based on the situation that you find yourself in. We're not here to unbind crouch and try and dead zone everything, but instead take the classic martial arts approach of understanding when a specific style of movement is the most effective and then train ourselves to instinctively use it in those moments. The 3 core scenarios that I want to break down today are when you take an uncommitted fight, when you take a committed fight into one person, when you take a committed fight into multiple people, and then when you're caught off guard or someone peeks you from an angle that you weren't prepared for. If you're currently handling all of these situations with the exact same style of movement, then today is going to be an eye-opener for you. Let's start with uncommitted fights. Before we can understand how to move in an uncommitted fight, we need to understand what an uncommitted fight is. Simply put, a fight that you can disengage from instantaneously, and the best example of this is the slice. A basic peek where we're just looking for a kill, but we stay close enough to the terrain so if things go south, we can disengage. When doing this, it is crucial that we preemptively stop. That means when you peek, you're preemptively letting go of the movement key before you even register if someone's on your screen. By keeping yourself this close to the wall that you're peeking from, you're not only able to isolate all your gunfights, but you also gain a secret weapon. And well, that weapon is of course the opportunity to use your movement to give yourself basically a mini jet dash. I'm not joking or exaggerating when I say that slicing from far away and keeping yourself close to the wall is literally comparable to a jet dash. So that means when you're taking uncommitted fights, just like a jet with dash active, you could peek, see multiple people, and then disengage because you don't want to take the fight. This is why your movement is crucial when you're contacting space. Whether you're walking up and you run into a high-low, or you find someone, take a shot, and then end up missing, having access to this get-out-of-jail-free card can completely change the dynamic of a round, all for the same reason that everyone loves to play Jet. Make use of this dash, and don't commit to every single fight you take and go for that 50-50 aim duel. Play smart and use your terrain resourcefully. Peek, see 2 people, go for a kill, and then instantaneously fall back. Peek, miss the shot, and instantly fall back. Unless you're using your movement to set yourself up for a get out of jail free card going into the fight, you're not going to have the chance to use it. Your first action step is extremely easy. All I need you to do is understand what it feels like to shoot and move instantaneously without leaving any time in between these 2 movements. You can do this by getting yourself into the range, looking at something like this door, shooting it, and then instantaneously moving. From there, you can turn on Eliminate 100, press start, and get yourself behind this wall. All I want you to do is practice peeking out, seeing the enemy, shooting, and falling back. If you get to the point where you go for the shot, miss, and instantaneously fall back, you know you're doing it correctly. Action 1 is shoot, action 2 is fall back. If you check to see what your bullets do, by default there's 200 milliseconds in between these 2 actions. What I want you to do is not check and get that down to 0. That's what you're practicing in the range. At this point, you're probably thinking, well, what do I do once I tuck back to cover? Because now I'm stuck re-swinging them dry. Well, this is where we flip the script on our movement, because if we don't, we are an easy kill for the opponent. This is where we do start to make use of dead zoning, crouching, and wide swinging. However, I want you to understand that as we get more aggressive with our movement style, the demand for a fast and precise keyboard such as the Wooting is ever growing. Luckily, they're the sponsor of today's video. However, if you're a diehard Zasko2 fan, you know that a Wooting keyboard was one of the first upgrades I made to my setup. Now, besides the fact that these guys are the inventors of rapid trigger and most of the HE features available today. The reason that we want a Wooting keyboard is because of the insane advantage that it gives us in game. Most standard mechanical keyboards come with a 2mm actuation point and absolutely no rapid trigger functions. However, Wooting allow you to choose the actuation point, and of course I've got mine set to the lowest actuation point possible. Combine that with Wooting's rapid trigger functionality and now you can see why this is the most used keyboard in the professional gaming scene. If you've got a Wooting and you want to copy the settings that I use to min-max my movement in Valorant, you can take the share code in the description and paste it into the web app, because yes, these guys don't make you download anything, it is all online. But if you don't have a Wooting and you want to make use of some of the freest movement gains ever, I've got an affiliate link in the description where you can support the channel by purchasing one there. A big thank you to Wooting for sponsoring this video. Back to the guide. We've just gone for a slice and seen the enemy. We tuck back behind cover and we can use that information now to make an informed decision on what we're going to do next. Having only seen one vulnerable enemy, we're going to go for the infamous crouch peek. I want you to view this as your finishing blow, your heavy attack, or like using a railgun. One massive strike that's really effective against a single target. However, against multiple targets, it's not so effective. If during your slice you saw multiple people, then we're going to go for our second option, which is the wide swing. Here, we're going to be trading precision and bullets fired for evasiveness and the ability to withstand multiple enemies spraying at us. Now that you understand what we're trying to achieve, let's break down how to make it happen. Neither of these are done without information, so either you've got utility or you're going for the info gathering slice that we discussed earlier. After controlling the impulse to unnecessarily commit to the fight, now you assess the situation. Again, one vulnerable opponent, let's go for a crouch peek. We immediately run forwards a couple steps, ensuring that from the enemy's perspective, we appear in a different location. From there, run out, slam the crouch key, and do not release it until the opponent is dead. We will not be doing the preemie crouch tap here because the preemie crouch tap leaves your head at head height. By making the first peek head height and the second peek a fully committed crouch, we condition the opponent to expect another head height peek, and our crouch peek is that much more effective. Again, your action steps are so simple. We're just building off of what we were doing earlier. We're going to build the muscle memory to peek, and every time we miss a shot and fall back, we just re-swing with a crouch. Before even considering trying this in deathmatch, I want you to get it down in the range first. Once you do, you'll see it in your deathmatch easy, and then from there you'll see it in your comp. But of course, what if there are multiple people? That's where the wide swing comes in. After finishing the same opener as before and then running forwards a few steps, this time what we're going to do is just run out wide, and we're not going to stop running until everything on our screen is dead. Because we're going wide, we can scan the environment as we're running out. I don't want you to start shooting until you know your crosshair is on the first target. Because all the aiming is done while we're running, we don't need to stop and then aim. We just stop and then shoot. We're going to be dead zoning, shooting one bullet at a time, tapping, and basically just playing the game like we're on ice skates. Not only that, but after you shoot, I don't want you to hang around and see if you killed the person and if you need to keep shooting them. I immediately want you shooting and going to the next target. Here's an example of Primi doing exactly what I've said. When he decides to go for a wide swing, he gets closer to the wall. He launches out, aims while moving, and then doesn't stop moving until he is on the first target. Once he goes for the shot, he doesn't check if he hit the shot, he immediately goes for the second target, and in this case, he actually doesn't even hit the first shot. Instead of committing and crouch spraying or anything of the sort, he plays the game like he's on ice skates until everyone is dead. Your action steps from here are so simple, you just gotta learn how to dead zone. Plenty of videos out there, practice it religiously in the range and wherever you can in deathmatch, and then try your best to integrate it into your gunfights. Of course, starting with the range, shooting a slice, falling back, and then going for a dead zone. Simple as that, but what I will do is give you some extra honorable mentions because obviously crouch peeking and dead zoning are not the only ways to move in Valorant. First, I need to remind you though that I am a mechanical coach, and if you are finding value out of the information that I'm giving you today, then you'll find a hell of a lot more in a personalized coaching session just for you. You're hearing a lot of words right now, many of which are going to be forgotten. For the most optimal gains to your mechanics, check out the link in the description to book in a session. First of all, an alternative to when you're committing into one target is to initially start with the slice and then go for a triple burst back towards cover. This triple burst back towards cover is amazing because what we utilize is the fast bursting technique, basically pushing the limit as to how fast we can burst without getting inaccurate. So if I shoot, right, you can see I start to get inaccurate. However, it's only after the fourth or fifth burst. So what it means is that you could technically go shoot, and they're accurate. Any longer, of course, and they won't be. That's why we go back towards cover and reset. Slice, shoot, miss, get out, shoot, and bang. We can barrage the enemy with strikes, but not pay the price of the bullet inaccuracy that would come normally. A while back when I was grinding, I got excited about this and designed the Zasko slide, which is the triple burst, but it also comes with a crouch in the middle. It's enough to sometimes convince your enemy that you're about to commit, but then you just go for another strafe, and in this case, that extra strafe takes you back to cover. It is also well worth learning the crouch tap technique, because what it does is convince the enemy that you're going to continue tapping crouch, and then when you hit him with a full crouch and you actually sink into it, at that point you're just playing mind games with them, and yeah, it's going to of course give you a very nice advantage in these fights. Make sure that when you're tapping crouch, you're nice and mobile, you can tuck back behind cover if you need, and then when you sink into your crouch peak, don't let go until you kill the target. The last point that's important to touch on, but I didn't record footage for, is what to do when you are caught off guard, and you actually already know the technique as you learned it from this video. When you have cover and you're in an uncommitted fight, you can tuck back in. When you go wide, you commit and you don't have cover, we have to either commit to a full crouch spray or we stay mobile like we're on ice skates. Apply that concept to when you get caught off guard, with the one rule that you have to instantly change directions the second you spot someone. I'm aiming this way, enemy appears over here, I instantly change directions, wide swing, aim while moving, and then shoot. Again, I'm expecting someone to be here, get caught off guard, change directions instantaneously, and then move. This is also one of the best drills to rewire your brain, right? I don't want to commit and go like this. They obviously know what direction you're going in. They're going to see you first. So we just want to make them reread the situation, reuse their movement reading skills, and re-trigger their reaction time, which allows us to reset the fight and put it back in our favor. Now, even if you're not running out in the open, but you're still caught off guard from an angle you've already cleared, like you cleared this angle, cleared this angle, cleared this angle, and you get into here, and then you get swung from here. What I want you to do is still just change directions and shoot, because that's going to reset the fight, and even though you were caught off guard, it puts the odds back in your favor. Just like that. Anyways, my Black Karate Kid students, that is all she wrote for the video. So if you learned something, subscribe. If you don't, that's a crime. I'll see you all when I make the next video. Next one will probably be on some more aim specific stuff, but we'll see how we go. Any suggestions that you've got, chuck them at me, and all the best. Until next time. Also, if I convinced you to buy a Wooting keyboard, affiliate link. Don't forget, alright? Don't you forget.